Good evening and welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Ord. We have a great show for you today. Our friend, Big Low Country, huge Falcons fan known on YouTube. He is going to join us in the next segment to talk about Arthur Smith, the Falcons Saints game, playoff hopes, all that good stuff. But we're going to start with Chris Sale. We've talked about him a lot over the last 2 days, and why not? He is the biggest acquisition of the offseason. He made his first media appearance yesterday with the Braves. There are a few things worth talking about, I think. Most notably, I think, was the fact that he said this is the first time he's been healthy going into the offseason in years. I think he said 4 years. I don't know if he meant 4 years, but it would make sense because he didn't do 2020 COVID year. Obviously, Tommy John in 2022, and then he dealt with injuries going into 2023. So it seems like this is the first healthy offseason in 4 years. And I've seen some pushback talking about, oh, Sale sucks, stuff like that. And I just don't get it, guys. Like, you go look at any stats page, Baseball Savant, Baseball Reference, Fangraphs, whatever you want to choose. And this guy, when he's healthy, is one of the best pitchers in baseball. Even last year, I mean, first of all, did you know he has the highest career K9 in the history of baseball? The history of baseball. This game's been played a long time. He has the highest career K9. It's 11.1. You know what his K9 last year in a down year, in his worst year of his career, his K9 last year was 11.0. This guy still strikes guys out in bunches. His FIP was still 3.80. And if that's his floor, he gives the Braves 150 innings or 130 innings and has a 3.80 FIP, has a sub-4 ERA, and has an 11 K9. We're paying this guy nothing this year. Like, all we gave up is Vaughn Grissom. Vaughn Grissom wasn't going to play for the Braves, guys. And he's healthy for the first time, he's saying, in 4 years going into this offseason. There's a reason the Braves gave him this extension. They believe in him. And I don't understand the disdain, like people acting like this isn't a good move, because if he's healthy, he's going to be an all-star caliber pitcher. If he is healthy, that is a big if. That is a big if over the last 4 years, but I think he's going to be. I'm not as worried about it. He's going to be one of the best. He's going to be an all-star pitcher for the Braves.
Yeah, the injuries aren't necessarily reoccurring injuries. Anthopoulos said it. They were kind of fluky injuries. The ATV or motorcycle accident.
Stay off the dirt bikes.
Yeah,
that's all I'm asking.
It's really easy. Fernando Tatis, everybody just stay off motor vehicles. Have somebody drive you to the stadium, for God's sake. But seriously, yeah, I mean, injuries are a concern for every pitcher. I've said it multiple times that there's a direct correlation with more pitching injuries and the pitch clock. And it's just going to continue to happen, especially they dropped it to 18 seconds with runners on. So that it's only going to become even more of a problem. So the injuries thing also, it's not necessarily his arm. Like I said, it was the ribs, and he had a stress fracture in his shoulder. I think that Braves fans are kind of just hurt. They're kind of got that PTSD of like pitching injuries. And frankly, I don't care what Chris Sale gives the Braves during the regular season. In fact, I don't care what really anyone gives in terms of the pitching staff gives the Braves in the regular season. We didn't have Max Fried or Kyle Wright for pretty much the entire year. And guys, we won the division going away. So it's not necessarily about building another 100-plus win ball club. It's about how can we be better in October. And I think the Chris Sale acquisition and subsequent contract extension tells you all you need to know. The guy's an absolute menace on the mound, a dog. He's going to get – I'm not going to say he's going to get in people's faces and kind of be a locker room cancer, but he's going to say it and say what needs to be said, and he won't apologize about it. And that's how he plays the game of baseball as well. And if there's one thing this club has been missing the past two postseasons, it's that dog. It's that edge. And I think Chris Sale brings it.
Yeah, he brings that. And from everything that I've read about Chris Sale since this acquisition is that he's a great locker room president. He's a great teammate. He's a hard worker. He's a veteran, as we talked about yesterday, that's going to be able to pass off some of this experience. I mean, we're talking about a guy who, for a 7-year stretch there from 2012 to 2018, didn't finish outside the top 6 in the AL Cy Young race. I mean, we were talking about from a consistency standpoint, this guy was the best pitcher in baseball. I mean, it was every single year. He was leading the league in strikeouts, K9, FIP, whatever you want to go do. I mean, these guys' numbers, even in bad years, quote unquote, even the 2 years that he had Tommy John in the middle where he made 11 starts, his ERA was 3.16. I mean, do you understand how insane that is when you're basically not pitching and you have 11 start sample size and his ERA is 3.16? So if he's healthy, guys, this guy is going to be a stud. And by the way, we're paying him nothing this year. And if you do it over a 2-year stretch, the $22 million we're guaranteed to pay him, it's $10.5 million a year. And all you had to do was give up Vaughn Grissom. So yes, there's some risk. But pipe down. He's healthy. Let's just hope he stays that way going to. The other notable thing I thought he said, didn't expect to be traded. It was a surprise, but he thought this was a great landing spot. I mean, he was a Braves fan growing up. Shocker. It seems like everyone is. I know everyone isn't, but it does seem that way. Every new guy that comes seems to have some connection to Atlanta, and it's because they're the most national brand of all the Atlanta sports teams. He said his first autograph was by Chipper Jones, who was his favorite player. So, and he's closer now to his family. He lives in Florida. Obviously, Northport, the facility, that the spring training facility of the Braves is, I think he said 90 miles away. So this seems like a perfect marriage. And he even mentioned a one-year contract, how he doesn't want to be a one-year guy. So he was excited to sign that extension because he has a family, he has kids, he lives in the South. This was a perfect marriage. If he stays healthy, guys, I'm telling you, like, you're just going to love this guy. Like, you're going to love this guy. And yes, there's always the potential for injury, but I love this move so much, it's not even funny.
Well, it's not like any other free agent contract or trade acquisition wasn't going to come without risk. Every single offseason acquisition it comes with inherent risk. This isn't like something new. You think the Dodgers aren't taking on risk with the Tyler Glasnow trade and the subsequent contract extension? I'd argue they're probably taking on more dollar contract. And that's going to be the case with every single acquisition. And in this case, Alex Anthopoulos is minimizing that risk. So I don't know what there is to hate about this.
You don't think they're taking on risk signing Yamamoto, who hasn't pitched a pitch for $350 million or whatever they signed him for, even handing Shohei Ohtani $700 million or $460, whatever you want to do because of the current value in the CBT tax, whatever you want to call it. You don't think there's a risk with those deals? No, there's a massive risk. These mega contracts almost never work out for the player. I can count on one hand where a guy has signed a 10-year deal and I've been like, oh, that 10-year deal was worth it. And I really think the only one that really comes to mind, at least so far, is Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper is about the only one that I can think of. I mean, you have bet to A-Rod, Albert Pujols, all these guys, Miguel Cabrera. None of those contracts were worth it. So there's huge risk in what those guys are doing. So this is mitigating the risk. All you gave up was Vaughn Grissom. You gave him $10.5 million for 2 years. Even if he does get injured, you're not screwing yourself. The goal here for the Braves, right? And I said this yesterday, is that you want three of these guys, and Morton, Fried, Sale, and Strider, three of them healthy for the postseason. And hopefully one of your other young arms steps up, because you want four guys. But even if you have three and you just have to patch up something for the fourth game. So that's the whole point in adding this, Chris Sale thing. And you're really hoping three are healthy for the postseason. If all four are healthy, fantastic. But the goal is to at least get three of them there healthy.
Well, even if they only have three and you talk about that patchwork, I think that Anthopoulos covered that base as well with the bullpen. You got a guy in Ronaldo Lopez who can go multiple innings. And let's just assume, which is a dangerous thing to do, but just for this exercise, let's assume Tyler Matzek can return to, let's just say maybe even close to what he was during that 2021 run. You've got seven guys that have all been comfortable in high leverage situations. And then you got Dylan Lee. And then you got Dylan Lee and Ray Kerr. So it's just an embarrassment of riches. And I think that, what Alex Anthopoulos did is he took it. Hope is not a strategy. We can't hope we have Strider, Morton, and Fried healthy. No. In case one of them, we got Sale. In case none of them, we have the bullpen to lean on.
Yeah, we got to go to break. Coming up after the break, Big Low Country is going to join us to talk about the Falcons, Saints, Arthur Smith, the whole 9 yards.